Hey, what's up, y'all, and welcome to the newest episode of the Take One Podcast. I am August C. Jones, and this is episode 114. And we got kind of a few things to talk about that just dropped recently. We're gonna get on a new Shazam trailer that dropped, as well as the ongoing development of the Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow sequel that's been in development for a good little minute, or they've been in talks and developing, stuff like that. And then I'm going to ask a good question that, do we replace actors that have passed away in an ongoing franchise, as well as when we get into the box office? And then I'm going to do 2 movie reviews on some of the most recent films, one of them not being Medea, but I am going to do a review on Greta and Fighting With My Family in this podcast. And I'm going to try and swing all of that within a 30-minute podcast. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump right into everything. So we're going to start this off with trailer reviews. And like I said, the new Shazam trailer had dropped. Now, just going into this trailer, it does give a whole lot of new scenes. It shows some of the old scenes that we've already seen in previous trailers, and we see a decent amount of it. At first I wasn't even gonna cover it. I wasn't even gonna do it, but then rewatching it again, I'm like, okay, there's enough new material in this new trailer to, warrant being on the podcast or me even just talking about it. And just looking over it again, I like the new trailer. I really do. I'm getting tired of seeing the old scene, like some of the older scenes or whatever. Once they start to get repetitive of showing some of the scenes that we've seen before, then I start to lose interest. But some of the new scenes that it do show is that it has more of the scene where they're in the mall, well, not in the mall, but up in the store trying to buy liquor and everything else. And one thing I've noticed about this trailer, as well as other trailers, is that it doesn't have a main focus on the villain. And you know how some trailers might have it to where the first trailer, you have it focused on the hero. You might see glimpses of the villain, or you might not have the villain in there at all. And then it just focuses on showing you what this movie has to offer, somewhat of the tone. And then the second trailer, a focus more on the enemy. You might have a little bit of lightheartedness from what the first trailer gave us, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 and then it shows the the villain and stuff, and then you see more of what the villain has to offer. We do get to see what the villain has to offer, some of his powers. He's as strong as Shazam. As you can see up in the trailer, he basically punches the crap out of him and just hits him up, does an uppercut to him and whatnot, and knocks Shazam into a police car. And then he has electricity type power. So he has, from what we can see, he has a lot of the similar powers that Shazam has, or the same powers that Shazam has. But it doesn't focus on it like that. It's it's more of the focus on Shazam. He is a 0.9% focus of the trailer. So that just lets me know that they're not really he probably not going to have a major big role when it comes to the actual film and everything that's involved in it. So he's probably going to be one of those throwaway villains, or he probably might not. But if he's not, then the trailers have not done a good job in advertising that and showing what type of villain he is. But just by the look of it, he's probably not going to be a big focus, or he's probably not going to have any type of personality to where they can focus on and actually make him a really good character, like a Loki or something like that, where he can be a fan favorite. Also, this trailer focuses on the lightheartedness of the whole film. Just with the first trailer, it shows basically him trying to be Shazam, and I like that. I like how it doesn't go into he gets these powers and he automatically knows how to use it. He gets these powers, he doesn't know how to use them, so he's training with his friend or his brother and trying to figure out how to use these powers, because it was he was basically given this without an instructions manual. You don't really see him going back to the wizard that gave him the power, so I don't think he really goes back to him as a consultant or somebody to how do you do this and this and that. Since he's training with his brother, it shows that he doesn't know how to use it, and he's trying to figure out how to use it, and you see the mistakes that he's making in the trailer that he doesn't know how to use this. He's still learning it. And that's the argument I go with Man of Steel, but that's a whole nother discussion. But he's still learning how to handle the power, and he's going against someone, just like in Man of Steel, who has the same strength as him, same powers and all that stuff, I'm guessing, because he shows it. He can fly. He has superhuman strength because he goes toe to toe with Shazam. And then Shazam uses electric power, electricity or whatever as a power. So is the villain. So I can only guess that he has the same powers as Shazam. So yeah, and he's going toe to toe with a guy who has the same powers, and he's still learning how to use his powers, which is the same in Man of Steel. But like I said, that's another discussion. But I like that whole aspect of it, and it looks like the moments where they're doing training and trying to figure out how to use the powers is it looks really like it's funny. It looks like it has a lot of humor, and I hope I come out of this movie, even if I don't like it as much as like Wonder Woman or Man of Steel or Aquaman, I hope it's within that discussion to where it's like, damn, this is a pretty good movie, and I came out of here laughing and enjoying myself with the action and everything else, the acting, all that. Also, there has a little scene where he picks up a Batman doll and tries to throw it at like the villain, saying like, when he pick him up, he's like, I am Batman, the doll. And then he's like, all right, go get him, Batman. He throws the doll at him. Like, that just shows Zachary Levi is doing a great job with this character. And that's what I like about this character so far, even just from seeing it on the trailers or whatever. He is a 15-year-old kid. He just looks grown. So he's going to act like a 15-year-old kid, and he's selling it. And that's something that a little kid would have done. Like, what type of grown man, unless, in an Adam Sandler movie or a Seth Rogen movie or something like that, but what type of grown-ass man would take a doll and throw it at somebody, but like, go get him, Batman? That's the type of silly humor that really intrigues me and gets me interested in seeing this movie and just expecting to laugh. I ain't gonna say gut busting, but just laugh because it looks like it's funny and just stupid humor. Just it's so funny that it's so stupid that it's just funny. And also, him saving the bus that he caused the accident. Like, he uses his electricity power. I'm getting the sense that he basically found out how to use it, and so he's kind of like playing around with it. Like, okay, yeah, I got this, and then bam, he busts the tire of the bus. It goes and about to fall off the side of the road. He runs down there real quick and catches it and puts it down. And he was like, "Did you see that?" And his brother's like, "Yeah, you just electrocuted a bus and then made it fall off a thing." And he's like, "And I caught it." It's like, it just has a lot of stupid humor. You could tell from the trailer, especially at the end when they're doing the leap the building in a single bound. And you could tell that this movie is like heavily connected to the BVS universe. Superman and Batman, all of them exist because there are references from what you see and then what you hear visually in the trailer. They do have some references to the other heroes, that they do exist in this universe. And one of the things is like him leaping a building in a single bound, being that what Superman does and what Superman is known to do for so many years in real life through comic books. And he tries to do it, and instead of hopping over a building in a single bound, he actually goes almost to the top of the building but crashes into somebody's apartment or office building or whatever. And it's just, that goes on with the humor. So hopefully I come out of this movie like, yo, this was a funny ass movie. Also a good, not I'm about to say great, but a good ass movie. If I come out here and say it's a great movie, then yeah, I'll be satisfied. I will be satisfied. But other than that, yeah, the trailer was dope. I really did like it, and I definitely cannot wait to see Shazam. I definitely cannot wait. So moving on, let's go over into the next segment, which is movie news. And so the one thing that we're going to talk about in movie news real quick is Edge of Tomorrow, or Live, Die, Repeat, or All You Need Is Kill. Whatever you want to call the movie, it has been put out there that they are trying to make a sequel. Now, before, it hasn't came out, because like the first movie, when did it drop? The first movie, release date, I just wrote it down. Oh yeah, back in 2014. And ever since then, with the success of just what people was wanting to see from it, it's like they really wanted to make another one because they know people will go out and go see it because of this. Maybe, maybe not. But in any case, so they had plans on making a sequel, but because of like commitments to other, projects or whatever, the stars couldn't come back. Emily Blunt, with everything that she was doing. I believe Mary Poppins at the time that they were trying to do the sequel or the time frame, she was filming other things because, last year she did, what's the movie? Quiet Place, and then Mary Poppins. I believe she was in the third movie last year, but maybe it's just those two. Maybe I'm just tweaking. But yeah, she was doing other things. So now maybe they have all their eggs in the basket, or maybe, they have time to where they can grab these actors, which is the main actors, and they're trying to bring back Emily Blunt as well as Tom Cruise, which they can, which is more likely, which probably would be like the best thing for them to bring back the original people and then, just go on with that, which I'll be down with it. But also Matthew Robinson to pen the script, and they're also trying to bring Doug Liman back to direct the film. So more than likely, I think maybe they have a better chance with getting Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise back for the lead roles again. Doug Liman, he might or may not, so they might have to get another director, but I feel like Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt is more of a possibility to get back. But I mean, I'm not saying that Doug Liman isn't, a possibility to getting back, but because I don't know what he's working on, but more than likely, just through my eyes and what I feel would be more possible. The more possibility is getting the actors back rather than the director. Now, we can get all of them back, that would be awesome, because Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow, All You Need to Kill, whatever you want to call it, that movie was awesome, and I really did like it. I wish I would have saw it in theaters, but hey, it was actually pretty damn good. And so they've been working on the sequel ever since 2016. So it's been a good little minute. Not too long, but actually, yeah, it's been, not too long. Yeah, not too long, like about 3 years or something like that. But in any case, just looking, one of the things that just threw this movie off is that they need to find out what the title is and stick to it, because the original script or original source material, I believe, is a graphic novel, was called All You Need Is Kill. Now, to me, that's really not a good, it's really not a good title. I mean, I could get within the sense of the movie and what's it about. Yeah, okay, cool. All you need is kill, because you kill yourself and come back. But anybody who haven't seen it, basically the whole rundown is that aliens came to attack Earth. And so Tom Cruise's character, who gets thrown into, war with the aliens, who wasn't supposed to be part of the war, their blood ends up getting in his blood, and which gives him the power to where every time he dies, he comes back to life, and not like a reincarnation, but he restarts the day over again. And then if he dies again, he restarts the day over again. Kind of like Groundhog's Day, or, Happy Death Day. Kind of like that. And so he's trying to use that in a way to take down the aliens. And it is a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Go check it out, because it's a really good film. But basically, it was just the title switch. Like, so the original script, I believe when it was written, it was taking the graphic novel title, All You Need Is Kill. And then when it's a development later on, they changed it to Edge of Tomorrow. So in the theaters, Edge of Tomorrow, 2 tickets to Edge of Tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. But then when it came out on video, it was called Live, Die, Repeat. Because I distinctly remember going up at Family Dollar. Or was it Family Dollar? I think Blockbuster was still open at the time. I think it was one of them. I went to a video store. I know. I have one of those near me. But I went to a video store trying to figure out, trying to basically get this movie. And I'm looking at the E's, and I can't find Edge of Tomorrow. I'm like, what the hell? Like, where's this movie at? And so I asked the person, and then they told me, like, oh, it's called Live, Die, Repeat. And I'm like, what? And I'm looking over there, I'm like, it has in big letters, Live, Die, Repeat. And I'm like, what? I'm thinking, like, that's kind of weird. Yeah. I mean, because Live, Die, Repeat, would be and that's where that movie just kind of like that's what it just kind of messed up for the movie. I don't know why they did that. They should have just stepped to one title. Edge of Tomorrow to me is a better title. I don't know. It may be not describing what the movie is, but at the same time, it is a good, title to me. The best title out of the other two. And it's like, I don't know, like they just really messed up with that. They should have kept it as that, and I think that's where a lot of people got thrown off by it or whatnot. But I mean, it's still a great film. But just looking at it domestically, besides the titles, domestically it brought in, as far as like financially, 102 million, 100.2 million, and then worldwide 370.5 million, off a budget that is 178 million. So I mean, it didn't do gangbusters. It didn't just clean sweep the box office as far as just killing it financially. But at the same time, it kind of did it did decently. It did decently. Like I said, it was released back in May 28th, 2014, and the Rotten Tomatoes score on it and the Metacritic score on it are both high. Like, a lot of people appreciated this movie, and just the marketing of it didn't, convey what type of movie is like. And I guess it's not its fault. Sometimes it is, sometimes it ain't. Sometimes marketing just don't know how to market a film. It's certain films that could come out and you just don't know how to market it, because it's a certain type of film that if you put certain things, certain elements within the trailer, you may give away a spoiler or just something about the movie that you will want the viewers to discover as they're watching it. But when it comes down to it, it's like, sometimes you just messed up. You just mucked up, and just marketing. And this is one of those instances where this movie probably could have done way better had the marketing be better. And a lot of people probably be like, they don't care about marketing. Average movie, they don't care. But at the same time, you do care. Because as you're watching the trailer to a movie, that's the deciding factor on whether you're deciding on whether you want to go see the movie. Whether you see it on YouTube, TV, when you go to the show, the previews before the movie even starts, that is the deciding factor. That's, after seeing the trailer, you make the decision on whether you want to go see that movie. And it's just the marketing for this, it may have turned some people to where it's like, I'll wait to DVD. Certain people, they probably like, oh, this look interesting, I should go check this out. But it wasn't anything where it was universally like, oh my gosh, I see 5 movies a year, but this is going to be one of those 5 movies or something like that. It wasn't anything like that. But I mean, enough people saw it to where it's warning a sequel. Hopefully it comes out and it does good. Hopefully they stick to one title and one title only, and then we just go on from there. But in any case, I can't wait and I hope that they get this thing started, and I can't wait to see what they come up with. So, in any case, let's move on. So this next thing I'm going to talk about real quick, because like I said, I'm not trying to talk too long about this. But I wanted to ask a question. Do we replace actors in movies that have an ongoing franchise that have passed away? Now, it brought this up because I was recently listening to something where, the Fast and Furious thing was being brought up. And so I had thought about it, because it can also go for Star Wars with Carrie Fisher and everything else. About two of the actors, Paul Walker and Carrie Fisher, both died during the ongoing franchises, or during their ongoing respective franchises. And it was like, it came up, I know it's been said before that they wasn't going to do anything more with Paul Walker's character in Fast and Furious. And then they were talking about doing stuff where they was going to maybe try and do the whole CG looking thing, kind of like what they did with Carrie Fisher's character, Princess Leia in Rogue One, toward the end of it. To where, because before that movie came out, she passed away. But even then, it was like they needed to get a younger look in her, around that time. And they couldn't use previously recorded footage, because what she's saying in that scene, she hasn't said before. So we can't go all the way back to the first, when they was shooting the first, Star Wars, and then get, and shoot it, and then come back here and then, do whatever. So they had to do the facial thing or whatever with the CG or whatnot. And it's like, I think they were going to try to do that with one of Paul Walker's brothers, and then try and make him look like more like Paul Walker. But I'm just thinking, why don't you just simply recast? Now, I know a lot of times with these type of scenarios, you might want to get the permission of the family and everything else. I mean, when it all comes down to it, it's the studio's character. They can do whatever the hell they want with it. You know, they can do whatever. But I guess it's more out of respect. Do you feel right for us to replace this person, or for us to do this or do that? Blah blah blah. It's more out of respect, which is also good, which is also okay, and I also condone. So when it comes down to it, I feel like they could simply replace Paul Walker's character. They've done it before in movies and where it works out successfully. And the MCU is one of those movies. The MCU, where they replace Rhodes, James Rhodes, because in the first Iron Man movie he's played by Terrence Howard, and then in the second Iron Man movie on to Infinity War and even Endgame, he's played by Don Cheadle, and nobody better than I, like okay, yeah, whatever, it's switch, blah blah. And then Mark Ruffalo, Edward Norton played the Incredible Hulk in the Incredible Hulk movie. After from Avengers on to now, on to Endgame, he's played by Mark Ruffalo. And that's just only a few instances that, a character was replaced and no one really even cared, or it was like changed for the better, And I feel like that's something that they can do. There's a plethora of crazy amounts of characters, or not characters, but actors that can play the character. Just off the top of the head, this is not, I can see this person doing it, but it ain't like my top 5 picks or whatever. But Chris Evans, that played Captain America, he could play the role. He's already have a lot of recognition within the MCU. And if, let's say, after Endgame, he dies, during Endgame, let's say he dies, and he has no more commitments with Marvel, he can move on to another franchise. Why not the Fast and Furious? Another billion-dollar franchise. Why not? So I feel like they could simply replace him, because they're only going to do 2 more movies. They're going up to 10. They're only going to do 2 more movies, so he only would have to do 2 movies. It's not, unless, I'm not counting spin-offs. I'm not talking about Hobbs and Shaw if they try and do a Dominic Toretto type, solo film or anything like that. But there are only 2 more Fast and Furious franchise films that they have planned, at like 9 and 10, and that's it. So, I mean, it's like he don't have to have a strong commitment. He only had 2 movies to be in, and then that's it. So I feel like even if you're not seeing Chris Evans, maybe, somebody else, maybe another Chris actor, or just another actor that you could see playing a role, and just do that. You don't need to bring, because like if his brothers, or one of his brothers, or just his brothers, period, aren't great actors, why put them in the role and advertise it? It's like you don't really need to have somebody that look just like him. Just bring in the actor that can play the role well. That's it. You don't need to do it. And the same with Princess Leia. I mean, I'm getting there, putting other, like, I guess you could say her role is more kind of, yeah, you may not want to replace her, only because there's one more movie that's going to consist to have her. Because after that, I don't think they're going to continue with the, Skywalker franchise, or, or move Star Wars with the Skywalkers in it. It's not going to be where, they're going to be playing big roles up in it. But, it's the same with her. It's like, why not get another actress that can carry the role, that can play the character as good as Carrie Fisher, or even better, And just, you only got 1 more movie. You could have just simply did that now. Given it's too late, But that was just kind of like my thing. Like, especially if her family okays it. And, the actor that they bring on, they approve. And then the actor knocks it out the park. Why not? Because then that'll give you more leeway to use that character in how you would want to use them. Especially however the film, wherever the film goes, And I feel like that will probably work out better within their, within the scope of things as far as Star Wars and how they want to end it off. But maybe she don't play a major role in episode 9. Maybe not. Maybe she did, but then ever since her passing, they changed things around. But I feel like that probably would have been a much better solution, especially if the family okays it. The fans might not be okay with it, but hey, I mean, it's your movie. You're trying to do what's best for the family. And then let's say you make it and they love her as Princess Leia. She knocks it out the park. Then it's a win-win. You know, so hey, I mean, it's whatever. But hey, if you guys, what do you guys think? That's just my opinion on it. But in any case, let's go ahead and move on to the next thing, the next segment, which is the box office segment. The box office segment, which is basically how I do it every week, is that I basically go through like the weekend predictions of what I think will take the top 5 spots, and then I'm gonna go into what won the weekend, which is the top 5 movies within the top 5 over the weekend, and then I'm gonna get into the movies that are coming this week, and then give my predictions. So what we're gonna do is get into my predictions of last week. So I said that Dragons 3 was going to come in at number 1. Alita was going to be at number 2. Lego 2 was going to come in at number 3. Medea's Family Funeral was going to come in at number 4. And number 5 was going to be Fighting With My Family. Oh, I was right on some of them, but I was wrong. Or was I? Yeah, I was right. No, I was wrong. I was right on one of them, but wrong on the rest of them. So when it comes to, right on 2 of them. Okay, but I'm going to get into it. Anyway, so Dragons did come at the number 1 spot over the weekend with 30 million. And Medea's Family Funeral, or Tyler Perry's A Medea's Family Funeral, came in at the number 2 spot with 27 million. Alita Battle Angel came in at number 3 with 7.2 million. The Lego Movie 2, the second part, came in over the weekend with 6.6 million. And Fighting With My Family came over the weekend, topping off at the number 5 spot with 4.6 million. So I didn't think that Medea's Family Funeral was going to hit the number 2, but hey, I mean, I mentioned it that Tyler Perry has his audience, and a lot of them love Madea, love Tyler Perry. Everything he put out. Tyler Perry ceiling fan, they're going to go see it. Tyler Perry's phone is broke. They're going to go see that movie because they want to see what happens. Does he get his phone fixed? Does Madea make an appearance? Does it have a message? You know, something like that. So I should have known that. The rest of it is not really surprising. The one thing that is surprising when I looked at it, I was shocked at this. And it's not even part of the top 5, but the Green Book, which is one of my favorite films of last year. And I still need to do my best and worst of last year. I know I'm just I procrastinate a lot, and I need to get over that. But in any case, the Green Book went from number 11, and over the weekend went to number 6. Get that in your mind. This movie came out last year. Now I get the awards just came out and they went back in theaters and everything else, but that's just crazy to me, you know. That's just truly crazy to me. It went from number 11 to number 6. It almost made it in the top 5, and it's like literally over the weekend did 4.5 million. 4.5 million. That's not that much under Fighting With My Family. So if it would have made a little bit more, it would have been at number 5. It would have made it back into the top 5. That's crazy. And Greta, I didn't think it was going to get into the top 5 because it doesn't have like crazy known characters. Chloe Moretz, she isn't a big name in like Hollywood. She isn't like one of those actors that like she's been in a crazy amount of stuff and a lot of people like her. I mean, she is a good actress. Don't get me wrong. She is a good actress. And I've seen the movie and I'm going to review. But in any case, like, she's not a known name. She's not The Rock. She's not an Emily Blunt. She's not a Jennifer Lawrence or something like that. She isn't a name that a lot of people know. But, I mean, I didn't think it was going to make it, and it didn't. It came in at number 8 with 4.4 million. Which, you know, it's whatever. I have a lot to say about the movie. I'm going to try and condense it to a small portion, but anyway, that's the things that kind of stood out to me. I was going to do a comparison with the Tyler Perry movies, but I think I might do that in a little bit later. because I'm planning on doing another podcast tomorrow, which is going to be a little bit more lengthier, but whatever. But what's coming out this week? We only have one major film coming out this week, which is Captain Marvel, and I have been waiting to see this movie. Really, really have been waiting to see this movie. So, for anyone who don't know what Captain Marvel is kind of like a female kind of Superman, I guess you say. Whatever. I don't know if that's the best description to give to her, but basically, how can I describe the movie for those who don't know? So she is going to be up in Avengers Endgame. She is part of the MCU, Avengers, Captain America, Marvel, and all that. All that. And basically, she ends up crash landing on Earth, finding out that she has a history on Earth, and she doesn't have any memory. She meets up with Nick Fury. I'm about to say Nick Cage. That would have been a very interesting movie. But she meets up with Nick Fury and trying to stop these alien-like civilizations called the Skrulls and whatever they were trying to do. And she has immense amount of power, superhuman strength and all that stuff. She can shoot laser beams and stuff out of her hands and fly, and she looks like a Super Saiyan and everything else. And this is the movie right before we get to Endgame, and I am going to dedicate tomorrow's podcast to her, because I want to talk a lot about everything that's surrounding this movie, as well as the reviews that it came out and everything, because it had its premiere yesterday. So I want to talk about all that, but this is a movie that I cannot wait to see. Cannot wait to see. And so with that, we're going to get into the predictions, and then we're going to get into the reviews. This episode has gone a little bit longer, but hey, what the heck. So at the number one spot, of course, Captain Marvel, hands down. And I think it's going to be within the same type of thing of how oh my gosh, the box office, the top 5 went this past weekend. So it's gonna be Captain Marvel at number 1, Dragons at number 2, Dragons 3 at number 2, Medea's Family Funeral at number 3, Alita Battle Angel at number 4, and the Lego Movie 2 is gonna be at number 5. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Unless if the Green Book feels like it wants to creep back into the top 5, that is what I have for this coming weekend. And with that said, that ends the box office segment. So let's go ahead and jump right into movie reviews. So the first movie to start off movie reviews for this podcast is this movie called Greta, which stars Chloe Grace Moretz and Isabelle Huppert, which I had to look up the pronunciation because I didn't realize that it's not pronounced the way that it is spelled. So yeah, and it's about a girl played by Chloe Moretz who finds a bag on a subway train, and she brings it back to the owner, which is this older woman played by Isabelle Huppert. And they quickly become friends, and slowly the girl, she ends up finding out that there's not something quite right with this old lady, and so she's in this kind of stalkerish type of situation and trying to figure out how to get out of this and get rid of this old woman. And going into this, I thought it was an intriguing premise. I was taken by it. I was like, okay, this might be something worth checking out, something that may end up being really, really good. And just to get into it, some of the best things that came out of this film was that the acting was really good. Chloe Moretz, she did great up in this, with just portraying the role of a girl who's naive, and she just kind of going through some stuff. Her mom passed, and so she's still trying to get on, and she still hasn't gotten over it, which I kind of know how it is. I lost some mother, but in this movie, this character is dealing with it. It's more recent, and so she's living with a roommate, one of her friends, and she's just trying to navigate through this city that she's new to and everything else. And it shows, and just in the delivery of her performance. And Isabelle Huppert plays the old lady. And I just love saying that. I just love the pronunciation of it. But she plays the old lady, and she just comes off creepy. And I love the way she delivers the role. And just them two playing off of each other and how everything was progressing throughout the movie. It really was very interesting. and it grabs you all the way throughout the movie. And Chloe, yeah, she carries the movie. Even though Isabelle Rupert, she does a great and amazing job as well. And both of them are phenomenal in their roles. If I hadn't said it before, like I said, the story was good. It was a simple story, something that you can do whatever with it, and depending on how you do it, it could come out good or it could come off bad. It had great direction. It had a great look to it. I really enjoyed it, but it did lack a lot of things. Some of the things that I really don't like in just movies, period. Certain other genres more than others, but it does a lot. Now, there's decent character development. There are sprinkles of backstory with Greta and Francis. And it's like, it's not really too much, not really delivered at one time. And like, I'm not saying that you have to give it to all of us at one time, but at the same time, I felt like there was something missing. You found bits and pieces of Greta. I mean, some people might feel like, we got enough, but I feel like there is still some stuff to her, even by the end of the movie, that we didn't grasp. And I felt like we really didn't get a sense of her past truly. And as well as Francis, we get sprinkles of it through exposition of her conversation with another person, but I felt like it was just something missing. I don't know, maybe it was something along the lines, maybe some scenes missing that delivered a little bit more, but it felt like it was like a rise, like it was about to give us something, but then it kind of stops. And that's how it just kind of really felt. And then it has some jump scenes. It has those scenes where it's like the sound makes it more scarier than what it actually is. It would have did better with just not really doing that, but it delivers it, and it just kind of like, it just seemed kind of off, at least for me. And this is all just my stuff. And the script, the major problems is like the characters make stupid decisions. Francis makes just stupid decisions, like a few, like I said, within the second act all the way to the end of the film, she just makes stupid decisions. And there are certain things where it's like certain actions that she does or don't do where you're kind of questioning, like, she should be able to do that. I guess like, it's like certain actions that she will be able to do that will probably end the story quicker. And I get that, but my whole philosophy is that you are, as a writer, you can write a person doing the smartest thing but still get the short end of the stick. But they're writing, the writer, it was written that she does something stupid, which she gets the short end of the stick. And it's like, it just kind of like, after a while, it just really took me out the movie, because there was so many things her character could have done to get out of the situation that she just doesn't do. She doesn't think smart. And, being naive is totally different than being just completely stupid. And in certain situations, common sense would tell you to do certain things, and the character just doesn't do that. And with that, I guess it felt like it took this movie a long time. This movie is just like over an hour and a half, but it felt long after a while. I guess it was just after so many stupid decisions and so many just things that just kind of happened that took me out the movie. I felt like I want this movie to end. I want to go home. And that's what I kind of got from this movie. So when it finally ended, I was like, yes. And, left the theater. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't hate this film. I just was really let down by it. Like, the trailers didn't shock me, but I thought that I was going to come out of this like, this is a really good movie. I thought I was going to come out, just recommending it. And I just came out like, I truly cannot recommend this movie to anybody. I mean, certain people might get a kick out of it, but me personally, I just can't, I wouldn't feel right recommending this to another person. I mean, people see, films are subjective. Everybody sees film differently, but I just simply can't. I really can't. I thought that apart with this movie, I thought it was going to go somewhere with what it was presenting, but it didn't go their way, and it just ended up just being what you exactly think it is. And it just, man, I don't know, it just kind of failed on that tip. And as far as a rating, I'll give it a 5. I mean, it's not horrible. I mean, it does have some ounce of potential, but it really just kind of failed as in its execution. So there you have it. And so the next film is called Fighting with My Family, and it stars Florence Pugh, I believe I'm saying the name right, Vince Vaughn, Jack Lowden, Nick Frost, and Lena Headey. Okay, there we go. And it's about the life story of professional wrestler or former professional wrestler, Paige. And it gets up to a certain point, but it's all about the trials and tribulations that she had to go through. And from just the beginning where she first started into wrestling, all the way until she got signed and a little bit after that, she got, put in with the WWE. And going into this movie, I heard about just how good it was. Like, I didn't have any high expectations for it. I thought, it'd probably be, a decent, or probably might not be. But, it was just whatever. Even with The Rock behind it, I didn't think that it was going to be, like, just crazy good. But all the reviewers and everything else was going behind it was just saying that, like, oh, this movie is good, this is better than I thought, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, well then that got me a little bit excited to want to go check out this movie. And so I was surprised. Some of the best things out of this movie was the chemistry between her and her brother, as played by, like I said, Lawrence Pugh, and Jack Lowden played the brother. Like, she plays Paige, and he plays her brother Zach, and just their connection as brother and sister. And it's more kind of just it's about her getting into the WWE, but it's all really kind of about their connection and how he doesn't get picked to come into the WWE, but she does, and so he feels like he's just failed and he has nothing left, that she took his dream and blah blah blah. And it shows just the rise and fall of just their relationship and everything around it. And that was just something to witness. She doesn't have a love interest or anything in this movie. It's just more about family and just, what you would do for your family and what you would do for your dream and everything else. And it is awe-inspiring. It really is. Vince Vaughn, well, just basically everybody that acted in this is all around good ass acting. Florence Pugh played good as Paige. Vince Vaughn, he knocks it out the park with this. Like, he is both funny and he plays straight. Like, he's not a funny guy or whatever in this film, but he does have some moments where he shines in the comedic form, and he does it. You like how he comes off. Jack Lowden as her brother Zach, he does good in his role. The dramatic, funny parts, yes, he does good. Nick Frost does excellent up in here. He's more, I guess you could say, the comedic aspect of this film. He's basically just a loony being, just a guy who just comes off just comedic all around. And Lena Headey, she plays Paige's mother good as well. Like, just the whole family dynamic of this film is displayed in phenomenal fashion, and I love it. It's one of those families where you're like, man, I wouldn't mind being a part of it, because it seemed like there's never a dull moment. And like I said, the story was all inspiring. It was a heartfelt, and you're gonna get a kick out of it. I know I surely did. And yeah, just like I said, the humor and the dramatic parts just blended in just really good and evenly. It didn't take you out when it was trying to be funny. It didn't take you out when it was trying to be dramatic. It was still keeping a well balance of both throughout the film. And I really, really did enjoy it. Even in conclusion, like, even if you're not a wrestling fan, and you go into this film, you're basically going to end up liking it. It's just a story about a girl who's dealing with, trying to live out her dream while at the same time trying to, I guess you could say, satisfy or, just make her family proud of her. And just everything that she has to deal with, even just with her personal self and just overcoming, like, her look and how she felt just all around and just, going through changes. And it's a really good film that I think anybody would get into. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, you'll know anything about the WWE besides, The Rock and Stone Cold, blah, blah, blah. But you will go into this movie really, really liking it, if not loving it. I'll give this movie an 8. It definitely is worth checking out. And given the chance, I would definitely go see this movie again. It is worth a repeat viewing. So if you haven't, definitely go check this movie out. And so with that said, that ends this portion of movie reviews, as well as it ends this episode of the Take One podcast. And I'd like to thank you guys for joining me. Like I said, tomorrow will be an even longer Take One podcast because it's all dedicated to Captain Marvel and me getting all my thoughts and everything out about the whole situation involving it and everything else. So with that said, thank you again for joining me, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace out. Hey, before you guys leave, make sure you hit that like button as well as that subscribe button. And you see that little bell? Make sure you hit that to turn on your notifications. That way you'll be notified for anything that appears on my channel. Hope to see you guys next time. Peace out.